Thank you. If there's no objection, we are back from executive session. At this time, please join me in a moment of silence for the Parkland community. Thank you. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Let's move on now to board recognition.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, members of the board, if you will join me down front, and Dr. Kevin Daniels will lead our recognitions.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Mr. Superintendent. We're going to begin our recognitions tonight by asking Allatoona High School student Adrian Hernandez to please stand. Adrian is the 2017 Class 6A Boys Cross Country State Champion. He also won the 2017 Class 6A Boys Runner of the Year Award from the Georgia Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association. So, Adrian, would you please come forward at this time with your principal, John Kelly, and Coach Patrick Parsons to be recognized by the board and the superintendent. Thank you for the picture.
Okay, everybody ready?
They are very unbalanced.
1, 2, 3, and one more time.
Very good. Right this way. And y'all just We're pleased to honor another state champion from Allatoona High School, and that's Jacob Smith. Jacob, please stand. Jacob is the 2017 Class 6A Boys Track 200-meter state champion. He's also the state runner-up for the 400-meter. Last year, he was named the Marietta Daily Journal Boys Track and Field Athlete of the Year. Jacob, please come forward to be recognized by the board and the superintendent.
Not high as Mr. Chastain. You're asking too much. All right, everybody ready? 1, 2, 3, and one more for me. Thank you.
Next, we have the pleasure of recognizing Kemp Elementary School for winning the Georgia Tech First Lego League Championship Research Award. The judges commended the student team for having exemplary problem identification, source information, and extensive problem analysis skills. The Kemp team secured a spot in the state championship as a result of their performance at the region and the super region competitions. The student team members, please stand when I call your name. Nolan Burr, Joshua Craig, Zachary Morling, Isabel Malcolm, Garrett Carlin, and Paige Mills. We invite them to come forward with Principal Shay Thomas, Supervisor of Advanced Learning Sarah Kessel, STEM and Innovation Supervisor Dr. Sally Creel, and Advanced Learning Program Teacher Anna Dickinson. Please come forward this time to be recognized.
Okay, everybody ready? 1, 2, 3, and one more again.
Awesome job.
The American School Counselor Association designated the week of February the 5th through the 9th as the National School Counselor Week. So we would like to take this opportunity to honor Cobb's dedicated team of counselors and recognize the tremendous impact they have on helping students achieve school and career success. We have exemplary counselors in the Cobb County School District. Our counselors help our students realize their full potential. In recognition of Counselor Appreciation Week, or National School Counselor Association, we want to ask Gail Smith to please come forward. She's the counselor supervisor. And we also ask any other counselors or counseling consultants in the room, please come forward at this time to be recognized by the board and the superintendent. Any other counselors in the room, come forward. Yes, is that clear? Any other counselors, please come forward as well.
Yes, thank you. Yes, sir, brother. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, and one more again.
It was great to see the counselors that are with us this evening. We are going to recognize a few individually as our Cobb County School District Counselors of the Year. And we're going to start with the Elementary School Counselor of the Year, Kelly Beechler. If she'll please come forward. She's from Dowell Elementary School. She'll come forward with her principal, Christine Denizio. If her principal will join her, Christine Denizio, and also Counselor Carolyn Angrisano, who is here along with Gail Smith.
Yes, come on, everybody. It's time for pictures again. Okay. Everybody ready? 1, 2, 3, and one more. Okay, it's busy, so I think we're good with the first one.
All right, very good. Now we ask that our middle school counselor of the year, Katie Bauer from Loving Good Middle School, please come forward. We have two of her assistant principals, Dr. Nicole Shepard Floyd and Sandy Cox. Also, please come forward to be recognized.
All right, are you? Yeah, okay. Mr. Chastain was kind of high. Okay, one more. Okay. Thank you.
Our high school counselor of the year is Lisa McCormick from Hillgrove High School, and unfortunately she was not able to be with us tonight, but we do congratulate her on that recognition. The American School Council Association recently named two of our Cobb schools as recognized ASCA model school programs, also known as RAMP. This designation indicates that school counseling teams are committed to student success by delivering comprehensive, data-driven programs. Gail Smith is already up here. I'll call her up, but let's first have up Pebblebrook High School, Department Chair Patrick Birch, along with counselors Dawn Robinson, Corey Tinsley, Cherie Webb, and Julynn Williams-Chandler. And let's also have up the principal, Travis Joshua, and Robin Dowdy. Please come forward and be recognized by the board and the superintendent.
Y'all ready this time?
Somebody got to take Mr. Morgan out of charge. He's getting
All right, Gail, I'm hiding over there. All right, everybody ready? 1, 2, 3, and one more time.
Good. Thank you. All right.
Our other RAMP award goes to Palmer Middle School counselors Barbara Trueluck and Lauren Holland, along with Kaylee June Tanner, and they're joined by Principal Lisa Jackson. Please come forward to be recognized.
Come on, ladies.
official board director, David Bork. See, look at he's doing it again.
Absolutely. All right, everybody ready? 1, 2, 3. One. Let's try one more time. Oh, maybe. That might have to be. No, I think it's, we got it on the first one. We're good.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. The Georgia Science Teachers Association named Sean Spolowski, if he'll please stand where he is, the Georgia Science Teacher of the Year. Sean is the STEAM teacher at Mableton Elementary School and a recent winner of a Cobb Tank grant that help the students get active with the use of personal fitness bands. The Science Teacher of the Year Award is presented to a master teacher in Georgia who models excellence in his profession and in life and serves beyond the classroom. Please come forward with Principal Pamela Kane, STEM and Innovation Supervisor Dr. Sally Creel, and Science Supervisor Christian Calley. Would y'all please come forward to be recognized?
Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
And finally, tonight, we are pleased to recognize a member of the Transportation Department who has served for 47 years. For almost 5 decades, Ronnie West has played a crucial role in keeping our school buses rolling. At this time, we want Ronnie West to come forward with his family, also with Rick Grisham, Executive Director of Transportation, and Mike Warner, Associate Director of Fleet Maintenance. Please come forward to be recognized.
Maybe this way. Okay, everybody ready? 1, 2, 3. Let's do one more. We gotta make sure everybody didn't blink.
Congratulations to everyone recognized tonight. Mr. Chair, this concludes our recognitions this evening.
Mr. Chairman, if we're ready for public comment.
Yes, sir. Let's
We
move
have-
on, Mr. Doyle. How
We
many
have
got?
10 public speakers. How much time can we allot per speaker, Mr. Chair?
2 minutes per
Okay.
person.
2 minutes, and our first speaker is Kay Joseph. And she'll be followed by Andy Tatnall.
It's my first time coming up. I just wanted to quickly address a huge concern that we have as parents. I'm sure with what happened yesterday, we have educators, parents, students all across the country concerned about going back to school. And I'm one of those parents. I'd actually brought it up at my local school board meeting on Monday, and sadly enough, this incident happened yesterday. One of the concerns I have is the high school that my daughter goes to is extremely porous. It's very concerning for me that as a parent, even not knowing the campus very well, there are at least 6 different ways that I can enter the building through multiple doors that are open at all times of the day. And that's a huge concern for me. If we're not stopping people from entering, even doing the little bit that we can, how do we even plan on doing practice and preventing this? That's my first concern. My second is that there was an incident that happened this week, either on Tuesday or Wednesday at the school, and none of us knew about it. And we finally found out about it today through an email that the principal sent out, because somebody had posted incorrect information on Facebook, and there was concern that the right information should get out. When I called Cobb County today, I found out that nobody has authorization to send information out unless the superintendent's office authorizes it. And that's a concern for me as a parent. If something happened, I would like to find out that day, at least by the end of the day. You may not be able to give me all the information, but at least I should know that something happened so we don't believe the incorrect information that does get posted on social media today. That's my second concern. My third is that I would like to see, I'm sure all of you feel the sense of urgency. I hope it doesn't go away as memory of this incident dulls over the span of time. I would love to see whether, if you're having a project that is going to get kick-started, would love to be part of that as stakeholders in the community, and would like to know how are you going to share with us as to how you're going to unroll all these projects. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Andy Tatnall, who will be followed by Bashar Abdullah Muhammad.
Good evening, Chairman Wheeler, board members, and Superintendent Ragsdale. Thank you for permitting me to share an inspiring news about how 7 Cobb County high schools are making a difference in this community, specifically to create a world where everyone has a decent place to live. I'm Andy Tatnall, Vice President, Director of Development with Northwest Metro Atlanta Habitat for Humanity. Your local Habitat affiliate, as part of Habitat for Humanity International, has built and renovated over 500 houses in our 3-county service area. And we've been doing this for 31 years. For 21 of those 31 years, Cobb County High School Habitat Coalition has been raising sponsorship funds, recruiting high school volunteers to support Habitat's mission of seeking to put God's love into action by bringing people together to build homes, communities, and hope. In these 21 years, this coalition of Cobb County high schools has built 21 new houses in our local community, and these houses provide a permanent home for 65 people and generate, among other benefits, property taxes back to the local community. On Saturday, February 24th, these 7 high schools will be coming together. They include Sprayberry, Campbell, Hillgrove, Kennesaw Mountain, Pope, Walton, and Wheeler.
30 seconds.
I want to invite you to the dedication of this house that is tentatively scheduled for May the 12th in Austell. And on behalf of the Baydu family, who will be the homeowner for this house, and the other 65 people who reside in the Habitat homes already built by the Cobb County High School Coalition, I want to say thank you for supporting this coalition. I also want to encourage as many that may be listening of the other high schools that we would love to have them participate. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Bashar Abdullah Muhammad, who will be followed by Naomi Yalida Bashar.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to speak to you. My name is Bashar Abdullah Muhammad, and I am the father of a student from South Cobb High School who is the victim of racism. I have spoken to the principal concerning this, and he pretty much blew me off. He told me that it was just a joke. I spoke to Mr. Ragsdale. I sent him an email with at least 200 words in it. He sent me back an email saying, show proof. Wouldn't see me. I spoke to Mr. Morgan. I gave him all my proof. 2 months ago, nothing. He didn't email me back, So I had to resort to protesting, which you've probably seen on the news Thursday. And I'm here to plead to you to do something. I sent you my information. So Mr. Morgan, said that he was going to give the information to you. Apparently, he did not. I think he just buried it. This is a serious situation. A teacher last year, I've been working at this for a year now, threatened to hang some black students. The students wasn't sure whether he actually meant it, so they asked him the next day, what did he mean? He went on a 7-minute racist rant about how it was his way or no way and get out, and that the principal wasn't going to do anything. So we went to the principal. He didn't do anything. So I'm pleading with you to do something today. If you need the information that I gave Mr. Morgan,
30 seconds.
You can reach me at basharfamily@gmail.com. And I also have an audio tape of this teacher by the name of Means. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day. Please get back to me in the 30 days.
Our next speaker is Naomi Yaleda Bashar, and she'll be followed by Ren Faith.
My name is Naomi Yaleda Bashar, and I'm a senior at South Cobb High School, and myself and many other students have been fallen victim to racist comments and racial threats. As my father stated before, last January, my anatomy and physiology teacher, Mr. Cooper Means, threatened to hang some students in my classroom.
Ms. Bashar?
Yes.
I need to remind you that board policy does not allow reference to specific members of the personnel, and also you need to address your comments to the full board.
I came to my principal. I came to my magnet coordinator. I made light of the situation. I felt as though it was not handled correctly. I was told that Mr. Means made a distasteful joke. I came to...
Ms. Bashar, that's the second time I'm going to say you can't refer to specific staff members under school board policy.
Okay. I referred to the board. I sent the board an email regarding the situation. They said that they would investigate the situation. The superintendent contacted my principal. My principal asked me why I felt the need to contact his boss, and I'm simply following the proper chain of command. We then went to Mr. Morgan about this incident and several other incidents, and he assured us that he would share the incident with you all and the rest of the whole board. There's been no communication about where the investigation has gone or anything of that nature, and I wrote a follow-up letter, which
30 seconds.
Follow-up letter, which I sent to him on January 11th. I got no response, and this last Thursday we had a press conference, and the media is aware, and we'd like you all to follow through with what you said you were going to do and what you should do, which is ensure the safety of the students at South Cobb High School and all over Cobb, and we'd like a response in 30 days. Thank you.
Our next speaker is Ren Faith, and she'll be followed by Richard Pellegrino.
Hello, my name is Ren Faith. I'm here today to acknowledge the racial incidents that have been taking place at my school, South Cobb High School. It's been over a year of students filing complaints about teachers stepping out of line and making racist comments to students. These remarks range from white teachers telling Hispanic students that if they don't answer the question correctly, they'll be thrown over Trump's wall, and another teacher telling his class he would introduce them to his 4 wheels. The parents of not only the victims but other kids who have not been directly affected by this have lost confidence in some of the staff members and faculty and administration because they feel like they're not doing a good enough job of protecting their students from discrimination. Some parents do not feel welcomed, and instead they think that they shouldn't say anything because they are living in fear that their child is going to be reprimanded for speaking out against this. And for now, those parents who want to see action from the superintendent and the Board of Education, they say that if they don't see any action, then they'll be soliciting help from outside agents. So, thank you.
Our next speaker is Richard Pellegrino. He'll be followed by Dr. Benjamin Williams.
Thank you. I'm a parent of students at Pebblebrook High School. I'm also representing the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, Dr. King's organization. when my daughter, who attends Pebblebrook High School, contacted me and said, "Have you heard what's going on at South Cobb High School?" And she told me about a couple of these incidents that have just been clearly explained by these brave students and a parent. I said, "No, you're joking. You meant North Cobb High School, right? This could not be happening at South Cobb." And not to put down North Cobb High School, but it's, of course, less diverse and less used to dealing with people from different cultures. So I said, not South Cobb High School, which is 98% people of color. That can't be happening there. But sure enough, when I checked into it, when I talked to some of the students, including some that are here, some of the parents, not only the incidents that you've heard so far, but other incidents that are quite concerning, including a teacher, an honors literature teacher, giving an assignment to do a paper and a speech on a controversial topic, and when the person comes up with the topic that white males are committing more terrorist acts than others, than Muslims and people of color, that person was censored, not allowed to present that speech. And when two students in that class objected calmly, without disrupting, one in writing and one verbally, they were suspended. If that's not retaliation, then I don't know the meaning of the word. So, and by the way, we know that retaliation works because some of those parents are afraid to come out here tonight. So we're speaking for them. So I urge you to take seriously the concerns that these students and parents have given to you tonight. Thank you.
Next is Dr. Benjamin Williams, who will be followed by Ann Parker.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My first observation is this. I can recall being in this room and bringing to the board's attention what appeared to be a lack of respect for members of the public who come before you. And you responded to that in what most of us thought was a positive way. You set in place a time frame for public speakers. As I sat back here, and you are well aware of what the subjects are that members of the public want to talk to you about. And rather than exercising your discretion, because I think the policy says up to 5 minutes and no more than 30 minutes, I believe that you have 7 or 8 speakers possibly on the roster tonight, or maybe 10. Which provides, Mr. Chairman, you the prerogative of maximizing the time for those people who want to come to you and speak about matters that are of importance to them. Rather than do that, you exercise your prerogative to minimize that. That speaks volumes in terms of your sensitivity to what the public or members of the public want to speak to you about. Let me move past that real quick. I've not been here, but I've been with students at South Cobb High School for a while, working with them and making sure that they adhere to a process that is orderly to work through in order to seek redress for their grievances. And as a result of that, whatever has been the interaction has not provided for them a sense of confidence that this board is seriously attending to their concerns. So we are left with no other option than to abandon this process and finding other ways to get a satisfactory response from this board. Nothing more than putting you on notice, because I believe in being transparent. Thank you.
Next is Ann Parker, who will be followed by Chloe Rameli.
Good evening. I just wanted to reach out to our board and thank you for your continued support of the music programs in Cobb County. We have one of the best music programs in the state, from orchestra to band to chorus. And of course, my daughter attends Pebblebrook in the Magnet program, which has been a wonderful program. And I just wanted to share with you that today we have 76 singers from the Pebblebrook Magnet Vocal Department attending All-State in Athens as we speak. I know Mr. Chastain had mentioned the importance of Georgia music educators, so we appreciate your continued support. I also want to thank those members of the board that were able to come out and see our last production, and hope you can come out and see us in May. Thank you so much.
Our next speaker is Chloe Remaley. She'll be followed by Stacy Remaley.
Hi, my name is Chloe Remaley. I'm a sophomore drama major, dance, and technical theater minor at CCC EPA. Over the past 2 years, I've been involved with many productions, both backstage and performing. Over that time, I saw that the Earl Reese Theater, even though it is a wonderful space, thank you so much for providing it, it is not fully equipped to serve our needs at CCC EPA. First of all, it doesn't have a fly loft, so a fly loft lets us fly in and out set pieces, right? And if you saw Sister Act, you'd see that these set pieces are an integral part to the show, and without it, the show wouldn't be the same. Also, we don't have a scene shop in the Earl Reese, so we have to build all of our sets on stage. So if there's ever a school assembly that also needs the Earl Reese, we have to stop construction, and it's a terrible inconvenience. Also, the dressing rooms are built for 12 people. We have shows in there over probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 a year, or 6 even, that involve 100+ students. That's 100 students and 1 bathroom. We're at school a really long time, and 1 bathroom and 100 students just doesn't end well. But all that being said, I just wanted to say we really appreciate everything the school board has done for our program, and thank you so much for your time.
Our final speaker is Stacy Remaley.
I wanted to come up just to express my appreciation about CCC EPA, which I will get to, but I wanted to throw a shout out about how nice it was to see Pebblebrook's counselors being recognized tonight, because I have complete and utter full appreciation for our counselor at our school, who just has to bend over backwards sometimes to fit the Magnet program. So that being said, I've been starting to do a lot of advocating for CCC EPA, and I just wanted to take the time to say thank you to you. As a parent, I have 1 student who's currently there in the performing arts program and 1 who is a graduate, and their high school experience would not have been nearly as fulfilling for them, or as it is, without the Magnet program. And one of the biggest components of the Magnet program, to me, is the dedicated staff. There are staff members who have been with the PA program for 25 years, 22 years, 24 years, the whole way down to 5 years, which is very significant and has helped to grow the program tremendously. They spend a tremendous amount of time. Our students spend a tremendous amount of time, but the staff themselves just give and give. They do not have a planning period during the day. They stay for a 5th period. We're on a block schedule, so that's 1 extra class period a day. And they're supporting performing
30
arts.
seconds.
So they have all kinds of rehearsals and hours, and they're just wonderful and have added so much, not added, they have built the program and made it a really wonderful space for students like mine. Thank you.
Mr. Ragsdale.
Let me just offer a slight correction because we might have a little bit of confusion with some of the public comment. A person was referenced and as an employee of the district, a Mr. Means, and that person is not an employee with the district and has not been employed with the district since 2016-17 school year. So I just wanted to take that opportunity to correct that.
Thank you. Next, we have items requiring action. Following executive session, Mr. Ragsdale.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chair, members of the board, I'm going to ask Mr. John Adams to bring all of those items requiring action, and we will need, just a reminder, separate motion for land versus personnel. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Superintendent, members of the board, it's my pleasure to bring you the Human Resources Personnel Report for February 15th, 2018. We do have one principal level higher position recommendation, but the administration recommends the approval of the identified employment actions of those individuals listed on the Personnel Action Report as amended in the addendum, including those listed and as discussed in executive session. The one principal level and higher is recommend John Kelly for reassignment to principal at Oakwood High School to be effective June 1, 2018.
We have a motion, Ms. Thayer.
I move that we accept the personnel report, and I welcome John Kelly to my area. Thank you.
Mr. Scamhorn.
I reluctantly second it because I'm losing an excellent principal, but I'm sure we've got plenty more coming. Thank you.
Any discussion? All in favor? Mr. Ragsdale.
Yeah, I normally don't do this, but let me take this opportunity to say I'm really excited about John going down to Oakwood. He just has a passion and an enthusiasm for taking on this school that's thinking outside the box. And I just look forward to the great success that he's going to bring Oakwood and the students at Oakwood. Whatever we might name the school, because we're working on a different name. We have heard the students' request, and we're working on that. But I'm just looking, I'm really excited about the positive and the great things that he's going to bring out of that school.
Thank you. Next, we have agenda items. Oh, excuse me. I guess we're going to vote on that. All in favor? Raise your right hand. Say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries unanimous. All right, land. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair.
I'm sleeping over here.
You're okay. We'll keep you going. Mr. Chair, Board, I hereby move that the board approve entering into an agreement for purchase and sale of real property for the following. Real property and improvements on approximately 7.13 acres at 6997 Keene Street, Kennesaw, Georgia, 30144. Tax parcel number 20016700340 to Kennesaw Downtown Development Authority for approximately $3 million.
Yes. That's what I'm waiting for. Mr. Sweeney, second. All in favor? All opposed? That's unanimous as well. We have legal. All right. Next, we have the action agenda items. Mr. Ragsdale.
Yes, sir. As discussed during the work session today, Mr. Chair, members of the board, all four action agenda items are contained within the consent agenda.
Okay. This brings us to board member comments. Without objections. That's good too. Next we, this brings us to board member comments. Mr. Sweeney. Ms. Thayer.
Thank you. I frequently compliment principals and leaders in our schools, but this week I would like to particularly comment on one of our principals, Josh Morrell at Osborne High School. Principals always have a major responsibility, but this week Josh did save the life of one of his students by administering CPR and was able to save that child's life. So often our principals are there to make the difference in life and death, and this one made a significant difference there. So, Josh, we thank you. I thank you every day, but on this day particularly, we appreciate your service to our students. So, thank you.
Mr. Banks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I've got a few items. First, I want to say on January the 31st, the Navy Junior ROTC did their passing review ceremony for the cadets out of Kell High School, which the principal is Dr. Andy Bristow, and from Pope High School, Tom Fulgham, and from Lassiter High School, Dr. Chris Ritchie. This is an annual ceremony, and if anybody ever took ROTC, they've gone through a passing review inspection. Also, I want to compliment the Cobb County Council of PTAs who had a Teacher of the Year and a Classified Employee of the Year luncheon this week. It was this week, wasn't it? Yeah. At the Holy Family Catholic Church, and it was well attended, and it's always a great ceremony. I also want to compliment the LGPE, which is Large Group Performance Evaluation, that's gone on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week. You have can we bring up the picture? There, okay. This is the 2017-2018 District 12 East Large Group Performance Evaluation. And so I want to also, it's a little bit different this year. They combined the high schools and the middle schools for mostly the East Cobb School District. And the second slide will show the schools that participated in this performance in this evaluation. And also I want to make an announcement about Lassiter High School. They have now been certified by the state for STEM. So this is a big accomplishment. They've been working on it for several years now, and now that they are certified as a STEM school by the state of Georgia. So congratulations to all these students and to the faculty and the support that they've received over the years. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Banks. Mr. Chastain.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a few I'd like to mention. First of all, I'd like to thank the Cobb County Marietta Water Authority. They once again hosted the annual Alatoona Alley and Tappy Turtle Artist Challenge, and this is where our elementary school students are asked to provide artwork for a coloring book that is then published and distributed throughout the county. The theme being to come up with ways to conserve water, to be good stewards of natural resources. And what they do is they invite the 12 winners to come to the an autograph party over at the training center at Cobb Marietta Water. And they have press there and a reception, and each person is recognized with their artwork. If you would like to see the artwork, you can go to cobbcounty.org/watersmart. And then there's a lady out at Rocky Mount Elementary, which feeds into some of Mr. Banks' schools, named Mrs. Evangelista. She is the drama club sponsor, and we were invited out on, we went, I think, February the 2nd to see The Family Tree, which was written in-house at Rocky Mount, performed by all the kids in their drama club. If you like music, if you like humor at both the adult and it was fun. It was a delight, and I want to thank the folks out there for what they do. Mr. Banks, I think you want to say something.
The Rocky Mount principal knows how to dance.
And that's Mr. Banks saying that. But yes, the principal was one of the stars of the show. Yes. All right, now I'm distracted. You just did it to me, see. All right, and then there was the other thing. I know some other people are going to talk about some things that I want to talk about, so I'm going to skip that. But I want to say that Mrs. Chastain and I attended the Sister Act performance over at the Jenny Anderson Theater. And it was a fantastic performance by the folks from the Pebblebrook Magnet School. And it is a magnet school. And forgive me, I can't remember Raven's whole name, but, excuse me?
all right, is a child who came out of my post through Pittner and Palmer, and then has a stunning future and has shown that over at Pebblebrook. So that was delightful, and I think the next play is going to be Catch Me If You Can. And the insider information for those of you, and you know how bad I am about sharing Cobb County history, the conglomerate, the aggregate character in Catch Me If You Can, one of those characters was an FBI agent who lived here in Cobb County named Mr. Shea. I went to school with two of his daughters. And but what was interesting was while he lived over in East Marietta near me, and he was looking for the fellow, I can't remember the guy's name, who was living down at River Mill Apartments. River Bend. And they didn't know where he was. So let me mention that. And then lastly, what? I'm not going to cry tonight. Don't do that to me. All right. The other thing I'll mention is Communities in Schools, who partners with our schools. I've been promoting their Spelling Bee fundraiser. It was last Friday night. Cobb County School District team came in third, I believe. And I think the Weather Channel team, the Storm Spellers, came in second. And there was some other team that came in first, but I can't remember. Who? Yeah, they cheated. Oh, yeah. The superintendent's wife was one of the judges. But anyway, they raised money for Communities in Schools, and the serious part of their mission is that they do everything they can to provide non-academic support to support our students to keep them from dropping out. And so I will thank them for all they do, and now I'll shut up, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chastain. Mr. Scamahorn.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'm not sure I want to proceed with these two next to me. But I'll mention a few things real quick. Besides giving our recognition to our students at every board meeting, least you think our young adults are not doing well. I attended the Congressman Scott's award of to military academies and Marine academies about 2 weeks ago, and maybe a week and a half. And they are just fantastic young men and young women that will get very little recognition other than the fact they're special heroes. They're going to the academies and serve their country. Then I'd like to, again, it was mentioned earlier, it's called Future Fest. I really think of it as Career and Tech Fair at the Civic Center, Cobb County Civic Center. What a great, not really a job fair, it's just our students were field tripped or bused into there on a regular basis so all of them could get maximum attention to the employers that were represented. And they had a great earth-moving backhoe simulator that was actually realistic, and they sat in a motion-censored seat looking at a 3-panel simulator screen, and they had to try to load a triple-axle dump truck in 3 minutes. And a proficient operator has to load, proficient operator has to load 2 of those every 3 minutes. And it was amazing how they really tried and struggled to get that. Then Teacher Appreciation Brunch at East Cobb PTA at the Holy Family Catholic Church was an excellent program recognizing some of our teachers. I don't know, Mr. Superintendent, if you're going to touch more on that. Monday was the Kiwanis Star Student Banquet, and there again, a lot of our young folks just excelling with 4.0 and 4.0 plus GPAs. They'll go about their lives owning businesses, being our leaders, and will be wonderful for the future. At least you get negative on our young folks, come to one of those. Another great thing going on is Tuesday night at McEachern. We had what's called Eve of Inspiration. It was for our disabled special needs students. And believe me, at middle school and high school, they had more courage than I ever had, even in my 20s, to get up in front of people and perform excellent. I mean, those young people looked like they were professionals, every one of them, and they had a variety of things that they did, from excellent speeches to cheering and other things that they did. Then yesterday at J.E. Dunn Construction, they had a leadership politics day, and our more mature adults are going through a leadership school. I think it's 9 months to a year, and they're doing great. So I'm, in spite of our tragedies and our trials and tribulations, we have a wonderful county, and we're doing so many things it's hard to keep up. To a more somber thing, and it's going to be overshadowed by the tragedy in Florida, but we lost one of our own about a week ago, Officer Chase Maddox, doing his job in Locust Grove, and two other officers were wounded, one severely, and his Officer Maddox's wife delivered her baby, I believe yesterday, or maybe this morning, but I think it was yesterday. And what a terrible thing to happen to that family and to our society, that we can't honor our police and our firemen, and lives changed in an instant. And the other two officers that are wounded, fortunately one I don't think was real serious. But even if you live through a gunshot wound, you don't recover from that fully. And last but not least, Mr. Chair, as of to date this year, we have lost nationwide a total of 18 officers already in a month and a half. What a disgrace. What a disgrace that we cannot talk our differences and go and find people to arbitrate our differences, and we have to settle for those kind of things. And I yield back. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Scamhorn. Mr. Morgan.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I'll start by thanking the Pebblebrook High School Culinary Arts, department. They fed us tonight. We're very grateful for that meal. Chef Pamela Lyon, Chef Keisha Walker, and Brianna Young is a student, and also Jocelyn Christie. I want to thank Pebblebrook High School and its Culinary Arts Department for feeding us such a scrumptious meal tonight. Also, I want to give a shout out to the principal at Hendricks Elementary School, Mr. O'Connell. I went there probably a couple weeks ago. I visited the pre-K. And man, it was, you don't have a soul of spirit if you didn't see those babies and you didn't see how much they were learning and how the appetite they had for learning, the respect that they had for each other, and the commitment that the teachers had for those babies. So I want to thank him for allowing me to see that. In other classrooms at Hendricks Elementary, we're doing a really good job. Also, today is Tuesday, the 13th. Today, Thursday. Yeah. No, I'm saying on Tuesday, I went somewhere, bruh. Let me get to it, bruh. On Tuesday, I went to the senior night vocal soiree at Pebblebrook High School. It was the Magnet students who are vocal majors. They sung and they did an excellent job, and I really enjoyed that experience. I also visited Garrett Middle School, and Miss Kimberly Jackson is the principal there, and she allowed me to sit in on one of their data team meetings. When they were sitting in and they were looking at scores and what kids had done and who had gotten from level 2 to level 3, who needed more work. And it was a great experience. I love that type of experience, and I want to thank Ms. Jackson for that. I also want to thank Pebblebrook started a robotics team, and they've done some phenomenal stuff, and I'm hopeful that we might be able to recognize them in the near future. And I will conclude by saying, Mr. Chair, I'm looking forward to yet again doing Read Across Cobb on March 2nd. I hadn't even looked in here, Chris. Probably Dr.
Well, I'm pretty sure it's Dr. Seuss.
Yeah, but
This is Dr. Seuss Read Across America.
I just thought it was Read Across Cobb. I didn't know all that you putting on there. But I'm reading at Compton Elementary and Bryan Elementary, and I'm looking forward to that on March 2nd. I appreciate that opportunity, and that concludes my comments, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Mr. Ragsdale.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair. You know, I mean, everybody knows that I like to have a good time. I appreciate the opportunity that we have to do that with and being able to do that. But I'm going to start out tonight, just as many as have recognized, on a couple of somber notes. One, it seems like this year has just been a year of loss. We have experienced the loss of too many students. One is too many, and we've had more than that. As a matter of fact, we recently just lost Jordan Foster, a 7th grader at Lost Mountain Middle School, and Brian Barber, a 2nd grader at Teasley Elementary School. And if I said that incorrectly, Jordan was a 7th grader at Lost Mountain Middle. And our thoughts and prayers certainly go out to those families, just as they did and they do for the parents and family members of the tragic events in Florida. Losing a child, I cannot empathize whatsoever with that, and I can't imagine what the pain is that they're going through. Also, we lost a warrior for public education in Dr. Allie McGill. She passed away, and it's been, I guess, a couple of weeks now, or maybe even 3. She was actually the superintendent that hired me into education back in 1992. And is one of those things where you go to a funeral and you know, sometimes this might be a regular occurrence, sometimes it's not. But it really made me think about some of the stances that I have today. And while at the time, and don't get me wrong, you know, working for Dr. McGill wasn't always the rose-colored glasses. You know, she made you uncomfortable and made you stretch out of your comfort zone. But you realize when you have worked under somebody like Dr. McGill, who is one of the best superintendents that I've ever worked with, you realize the impact that they have on you when you don't even realize that the things you're standing for are some of the things that they've done. And so I can only say that I hope I reach the same heights, even come close as she did. So certainly will be lost and missed. And speaking of the tragic events in Florida that have taken place, I would encourage everyone that maybe is watching just this portion of the meeting to go back and watch our discussion as a board, and had some video as well of this afternoon of exactly what we do as a district, what we do for our students and our parents and our staff members in our community to ensure the safety of all of those members as they come onto our campus. Certainly it is very difficult to prevent somebody from coming onto the campus meaning to do ill will or harm, but it's our job and incumbent upon us to make sure that we have prepared and done everything that we possibly can do to keep our students and staff safe while on our campuses. So I would encourage everyone to go and watch that portion of the meeting today. Kind of the feel-good of the day, other than Josh Moriel, which thank you, Susan, for recognizing him. That it's not every day that you can say one of your employees saved the life of a student, let alone the principal saving the life of one of their students, and he certainly did that. And so that student is alive because of that. So that's just a tremendous testimony to Josh and the great job that he's doing over at Osborne. We had a teacher, one of our teachers featured on Good Morning America, Palmer Middle School teacher Chelsea Haley, and you may have seen the story and not realized she was one of our teachers. But she actually encountered a very challenging young boy, very young, and basically almost caused her to quit teaching. but not only did she turn him around, she adopted him. So that was just a tremendous testimony to the teachers that we have on our team and the above and beyond that they go to each and every day. We did send out, on a good news note, we sent out 8,000 contracts electronically. We were the first district in the state to issue contracts to teachers, and some may be asking, well, what in the world does that matter? Well, it matters because our teachers now know that they have a contract for next school year. And we have been able to lock in the best teachers because that's our teachers. We have the best teachers in the state and in the country, and we're able to lock them in earlier ensure that not only they have a job, but they have a job in Cobb, which is the best place to teach, lead, and learn. And I want to take this opportunity to kind of give a shout out to our South Cobb high schools. They get a bad rap sometimes, and it's a bad rap that's erroneously applied. And I just want to kind of throw out some shouts to the Campbell, McEachern, Osborne, Pebblebrook, and South Cobb high schools and their communities, because the communities should definitely be very proud of the work that's being done at those schools. And let me give just real quick, some data points that are not excuses by any stretch of the imagination, but is meant to really highlight the hard work that they do. The percentage of students at each school who transfer in and out, a lot of people are familiar with transient rate, ranges at these 5 schools, just these 5 schools, from 14 to 25% transient rate. That's an incredible hurdle to overcome just to get a positive educational environment, let alone growth. The percentage of students at each school who are English learners is 20% down to 10%. Again, a tremendous hurdle to overcome to get academic achievement. And one of the things that doesn't get very much attention, but is how poverty impacts a student, a family, and the education in that student's life. The percentage of students receiving free and reduced lunch at these 5 schools ranges from 59 to 82%. And that's the highest in Cobb County. Now, all of those could be very good reasons on why we would be saying the academic achievement at these schools is lacking or suffering, and that would be an erroneous statement to make. Since 2014, the 4-year graduation rate has risen at each of the 5 schools. Every single one, the graduation rate has increased. The 5-year graduation rate, which allows students an additional year to graduate, has improved at each school between 1 and 4 percentage points. So not just increased, but increased from 1 to 4 percentage points. Osborne and South Cobb were 2 of only 5 high schools in Cobb to increase their CCRPI score in 2016. All 5 schools were designated as AP honor schools by the Georgia Department of Education in 2017. Campbell received honors in 4 categories and McEachern in 3 categories. And all 5 schools have current Climate Star ratings of 3 or higher. So for all of those wanting to throw off on South Cobb schools, I know we still got some parents from Pebblebrook in here. They need to go find somebody else to throw off on, because our principals, our communities, and most importantly, our students are to be commended for the extremely hard work that they provide for our students by the teachers and the hard work that's put in by the students. It just, unfortunately, it goes without being said a lot, because as we see our recognitions here tonight, we recognize students, because we would have recognitions for hours long if we didn't limit it, but to those that are recognized as state and higher level achievements kind of thing. So you had the state champion in cross country, for example, from Allatoona. But this is what we exist for, the education of our students and the academic achievement. And while we have great schools all throughout our county, I think this just goes to show that we can say that Cobb is the best place to teach, lead, and learn. And regardless of which school you go to in Cobb, you're going to get a great education, and an education that is continually improving, as this data shows. So I appreciate the opportunity, Mr. Chair. I know I took a little bit longer, but I felt it important to give a shout out to those 5 schools. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Ragsdale. I want to kind of second what y'all are saying here. Recently, I've had the pleasure to observe several events out around the county, and got a list of what I call student successes. I mean, going back a week or so ago, the first one, like I said, Mr. Chastity, my wife and I went to see Sister Act with the performing arts play. Unbelievable. I mean, not just good, beyond good. Mr. Timmerman and his staff have done, and those kids spending time, hours working to get their first class. Future Fest with Jackie Brown. I know Mr. Scamhorn, Mr. Chastain were at that too, to see those kids coming from all over the county in there, and the staff working with them and giving their time. I went to the 7A basketball playoffs. I haven't been to I can't go to 2 of them at one time, but several teams from Cobb are in there too, the coaches, the staff. It's a first-class event, the way it's run, the way the kids perform. Here we go again. They're all these things are coming from different areas. The Star Teacher, Star Student Banquet the other night with the Kiwanis put on. You're honoring your brightest there in these outstanding teachers. And what kind of capped that off was I went to the Evening of Inspiration. They held it at McEachern, and it really was an evening of inspiration. And one of the things that I came away with that I noticed there was this was from other school districts in the area were there, but Cobb people, staff, principals, central office people were numerous. You didn't see that from other people. They're spending their time on the kids, and those kids performed too. I mean, that was a tremendous night there, and I guess I'm thanking everybody that are staff and students for your time and effort. I think that's the stuff that makes our district a little bit better in what it is. The public, like I say, the public doesn't see all these things. I mean, you don't get a chance to go to the performing arts play or a basketball thing or an assembly or a banquet. I mean, this stuff is all around the room, and it's beyond the classroom. I mean, that's our focus, but this is a broad thing, and it's happening all over the place. And like I say, it's impressive, the people. And congratulations, and that's our meeting for the night. Thank you.